metropolitans. So there's this company called Informa. They put together this big event. I suggest all of you to attend those events as well, because it's very great networking, and you get to learn about all of the insights into that market. So they have one in Ottawa, they have one in Toronto, they have one in Montreal, all of the major metropolitans, Calgary, Vancouver, all of those. And so I attended the Ottawa forum, and this was back, I don't even remember, when I first started. And I sat in to different informations. Have you guys gone to those conferences where you can sit into many different information sessions and you sit there and you decide which one you want to go to, because there's many concurrent ones, right? So I went to that and I saw the chief officer of the planning department was doing a presentation. And so I sat into his talk for the afternoon. And he's up there on stage and he's saying, we just released a new bylaw exception that's going to allow certain areas where you can do 4 to 6 unit apartment buildings without a site plan. Because normally, and we just released it last month. And so I'm, of course, the session finished. And then I waited for him to finish his conversations, and then I approached him and I said, where are these pilot programs? He's like, I don't know, I have no idea, but call my assistant, she can tell you where to look for it. He wrote down the number, he gave me her email and her number. Next day I call her and she goes, oh yeah, no problem, here it is. And she sends me the document. And there you go, behold, there's a study area already depicted out. This is the pilot program. We're going to allow 6 units with no site plan. Similar application for construction. I went off and I bought this property right here. I zeroed into this pilot program, and there was a lot that was for sale in that property. This is actually the property itself. It already had the zoning for it, so the city, what they were pushing for, let's now include this new pilot program. So we put that together. I bought the property for $305,000. We put in only $80,000 because it's a very simple architecture, structural, your roof truss plan, your MEP plan, your site servicing plan, civil engineering, right? It's very simple, straightforward, my application for construction. $80,000. Had I had to go through zoning, had I had to go through a site plan, we're looking at $300,000. So you can see how different in numbers that could be. That's a huge savings, right? Yeah. And so, right? So then we sold this one for $690,000, and we made a profit of $305,000 in 6 months. These are hidden gems, guys. Hidden gems that are there, and they're happening today. They're available for everybody to see. But what happens? Nobody knows about them. Nobody knows. I know I keep saying that, but it's true.
Who knows? Nobody.
Except for yes. So fun. So this is like, it's so cool because, and oh, by the way, I flipped my paper. This is flipping my paper. Sorry, I should have mentioned this. I didn't build this. See how this is just a concept right now? This is a picture. This is actually called a rendering in our world. This is called a rendering. I bought the land for that. I put that much soft cost. I was totally in for $385,000. I sold my paper for $690,000. I didn't build this thing. I just sold it to the builder. Sexy, right? That's how I was able to exit within 6 months, because it was a no site plan, quick process, quick turnaround, sold it right away to somebody who wanted to build a sixplex. And many investors want this, right? So you can find people within your own network to flip something like this too. Is it Jeff or Walter? Paul.
Did you
Sorry.
know your exit price when you got into this deal? Did you have a strategy to know, okay, I'm gonna buy this for X amount, and then when I do the paperwork, I'm pretty much gonna be around this price, or is it kinda like what the market will offer you?
No, you have a good sense, because what we do is it's almost exactly to the T what Alfonso teaches, and you reverse engineer your numbers. So when you go and create a plan to build something like this, you go and find the comps, or you get it appraised as the as-built evaluation, the as-built value. So you will know, once somebody constructs this building, what would it actually be evaluated at? And then you reverse engineer, right? You remove the construction for acquisition, you remove the costs for the package that you put together to get the permits, you remove the cost for the construction of it, right? And then you have the gap. And that's where you know that this is my profit margin. I'm living within these premises. Yeah. Good question. What's that? How is it?
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. Big signs. I mean, Leonard, what are you doing right now?
Exactly that.
Yeah.
Making new friends.
You make friends. And you're finding new friends that could flip the paper too, or you're finding friends that can build for you as well, right? But when I first started, so to your question, this was one of my very first projects, by the way. And I didn't have the network that I have today. But what I did have was all of the conferences and groups that I attended. And so what I did was I used this to talk to everybody about it. I'm talking and saying, this is what I'm doing, I have this new project and that. And so one of the guys at one of these groups here in Ottawa that I attended, one day, it wasn't the first time that I had talked to him about it, but one day he said to me, you know what, I would buy it from you. And I was like, hey, that's cool. Would you be considering it? And I was like, yeah, I would consider to sell the paper. That's how I called it, I'll flip the paper to you. Yes, just the idea, like, I'll flip it. Once I get the approval, I will sell that to you.
Was there a property on this?
Yes. The question is, was there a property on it? Yes, there was a little bungalow on it. So there was a tenant that lived there. And actually that was the reason why the seller didn't want it, because the tenant was not a very good person to deal with. Very difficult, in fact, to deal with. But I took it off his hands, right? I was trying to solve his problem at the time. I took it off his hands. But what's really nice about development is that there is a form. So it's the N5 form. And there is it's a form to exit your tenant, right? You're asking them to vacate the premise. And there's 3 options in there. And one of those options is because I have submitted an application for construction. So you click on that that's the one. That's why I need you to vacate. And that's what we did. So he had to. And you can show proof that you have submitted an application, because when you submit an application, you get a number, an application number. So when you're putting that application in to have them exit, you're writing in that application number right on the form. And they can pull it out, they can call the city, and they can verify that you have submitted.
That's an N13.
N13, thank you. What is the N5 then?
Bad behavior, illegal activities.
Yes, that's because I submitted one of those too. I think we all have here. Yes. Yeah, you need to figure out the number so that the builder's gonna make money, right? Because they're only gonna buy it from you if they're gonna make money as well. So my simple strategy is figuring out what is the as-built value of the end product, right? Because this is a product, you're creating a product. What is the end value of that product? And I even account for fees. I even take on, if they're only gonna get 80% loan to value to this, I factor that in. I factor in the construction costs. So I'm factoring in how much it's gonna cost them to build it, what would their financing model look like if they were to get a financing for 80% of the as-built value, right? And what would they buy it from me for, right? So that you know that there's still enough gap in there to make the money. You see what? This is how we reverse engineer the numbers, because really somebody's only going to buy it from you if they're going to make a profit. Otherwise, why would they buy it? Unless you know, maybe they did have a lot of money and they just wanted to park their money into a project. Could be possible, but at this level and this small scale type of project, that's not your buyer. Yes. No. I did not demolish the house, and there's a few reasons for that. Reason number one, the house was decent, right? So depending on my end buyer, they might want to keep the house and figure out their financing in the meantime. They might figure out their financing based on the house. You know, it's easier to finance a house than a land. And also because when you demolish, that means you're disconnecting all the services and everything like that. So you're basically cutting the land off of everything. And I don't want to take on all of that. I just leave it to the end buyer to do it whenever they want to do it, however they want to do it, at whatever time.